That was Connie's Got a New Phone off of the album Leaking, the latest release by Toronto-based pop-punk trio Bike Thieves. Bike Thieves is made up of bassist Kris Pandierada, drummer Andrew Fasken, and guitarist vocalist Marko Woloshyn. The band have been together for over 5 years, and in that time they've released 3 EPs, as well as a full-length album titled Leaking, which they released this year after signing with Montreal-based label Stomp Records. I caught up with the guys via Zoom to chat about their new album, video games, and their favorite bars and restaurants in Toronto. Here's my chat with Bike Thieves.
Maintain a garden. He grinds his teeth to dust. She watches reruns. Nursing some box one. Nursing a black eye. She's too afraid to...
Guys, could you just start off just by introducing yourselves?
Sure. I'm Kris.
I'm Marko.
And I'm Andrew.
Cool. Guys, thanks so much for agreeing to come on the show and chat with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, man, of course. I've actually had my eyes on you guys for a while, so when you DM'd me, I was like, oh, shit, no way. I was going to reach out to you guys soon anyway, so it worked out.
Go outside the bathroom window?
Cool. So, guys, my first question to anyone that comes on the show is, how has the pandemic been for you guys?
Wonderful. Everything's great. No, it's been tough. I mean, we miss doing shows, going to shows, being around a lot of our friends. We've been lucky enough that we're kind of in like a bubble together.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally have been bouncing back between like my mom's place and spending time with my family and hanging out with these guys. But yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of downtime, and idle hands can be the devil's playthings.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I mean, there's been some weird silver lining of things happening with Stomp and putting out the record, and and just playing a lot together and doing some writing.
Cool. Do you guys all live together?
Kris and I live here, and
Okay.
he lives a bit further into the city.
Okay, cool. And you're located downtown Toronto?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm right in the annex, and then these two guys are in like Etobicoke.
Yeah,
Oh, right on.
Just a short subway ride.
we're in the
Yeah,
still.
for sure. All the way down to Kipling or
Islington.
Yeah.
Islington.
Islington?
Yeah.
Right on. I used to live in Etobicoke a couple years ago. I went to Humber, so
Oh,
nice.
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the heart of Eastern Europe.
That's right, yeah. Little Poland. So, what were you guys doing when lockdown started being put into place? Do you remember?
We were actually going to do a show in Montreal with, I think it was with Boyd's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we were like really excited at the Turbo House. And then that thing, we still thought it was going to happen. And then that shut down. And
Yeah, it was like
Like day off?
2nd of March or something.
it was like the weekend of,
Oh no. Were you already in Montreal?
No,
Yeah.
but we were like ready to go out in the next couple of days.
We also
Okay.
we luckily just got to shoot the video for Connie too, like a weekend before everything happened.
Yeah.
So just snuck it in last minute too.
Right on. How long had you been working on the new album?
Ooh, I guess it's been a couple of years because we've
Mhm.
we were touring a few of these songs for a while, just peppering them into our set list. We tracked it last summer. Actually, we did 3 different sessions through the winter and summer and spring, I should say, with Josh Karody at Candle Recordings. But yeah, I think there was 2 or 3 songs that we kind of wrote, I should say, like right before and kind of during.
Mhm.
Some of the songs, like You're Allowed Your Feelings, that's had like 3 or 4 different forms over the past 2.5 years. And then Limbo in the Kitchen and Hockey Dad are both like we wrote them right before and some in studio.
Yeah. Some are a little more like tour tested, and then some have been definitive for a while.
So, what was the album like? Pretty much, you guys had started making and recording the album before being signed to Stomp then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, aside from, working on new music and working on the album, what else have you been doing to keep busy and sane?
Practicing, writing, some gardening.
Yeah. There's
Oh, yeah?
a lot of gardening.
Yeah.
We're into screen printing as well. Like we'll print shirts for ourselves and just try to stay creative in as many different ways as possible.
Cool.
I just beat Spider-Man for PlayStation 4.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Did you get the DLC as well, or?
I did. I got the Game of the Year edition, so now I'm starting on that. Thank you.
Cool.
I'll show you.
Nice. Yeah, I just finished Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh,
I
nice.
heard that's
I want
good.
to play that.
It's fun, man. It's fun. It was I don't know. I was getting pretty bored with it just because there's so many side quests to do, and I just kept complaining to my friend. He's like, "Man, just stick to the main story. It's going to be great. You won't be disappointed." And I was like, "Fine, I'll do it." And then yeah, I wasn't. It was great. And now they have the online mode. They have like multiplayer. So
Oh, sweet. So you're a side quest guy.
yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on the game. Like, I would say one of my favorite games was Witcher 3, and I'm pretty sure I've done every single quest in the game has to offer. So I generally try to get my money's worth out of a game. If it's $80, I gotta
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
gotta get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've done the same thing like with Red Dead. I'm barely anywhere in the story, but I'm trying to like build up all the skills.
Yeah.
And then when you go into the story, it's just a breeze.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you guys on PC, PlayStation, Xbox?
PS4.
Yeah.
We're a PlayStation. We're a Sony family.
Yeah.
Sony family, right on. Did you see the latest like unboxing video of the PS5?
No. We're a good family. We're a dysfunctional family, I guess.
I'm a little behind.
It's ridiculous. It's so big. Like I think it's gonna piss off a lot of people that have just like kind of old school entertainment systems because it will not fit in an entertainment
Isn't that how
system
like every Sony thing is? It's like the first model is always huge, and then they get smaller and smaller.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, whatever the PS5 Pro will probably be like half the size or something.
Yeah. The micro in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly, right? What was the last movie you saw and thoroughly enjoyed? It can all be a different answer from everyone.
Oh, the other night, Chris and I watched with our manager, what is it called? American Utopia, the David Byrne. I guess it's not really a movie. It's like a concert film. Spike Lee did it. And it was wonderful. Like, it's so weird. Like, that guy just really hit, like, really kills it at being weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a weird guy.
Well, yeah.
Staying in the weird realm too, like we've all watched a movie called The Greasy Strangler.
The Greasy Strangler?
It is one of the most bizarre things I think has ever been put on film.
Yeah.
Like Chris and I have watched it a few times. It's so fun. Like highly recommended as well.
Yeah, it's like if a Tim and Eric bit was a horror movie.
And like we did the soundtrack.
Yeah. How many times have you guys seen it? Like,
I've probably seen it like 3 or 4 times.
Really? The Greasy Strangler? Okay, I'll have to write that down. I'm going to write it down right now. Hold
It's
on.
fun to show people too.
Yeah.
It sounds like something the Trailer Park Boys would have made. I don't know.
Yeah, it really does.
Watch it before you start recommending it to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
With some friends. Yeah. But gain new ones that you never wanted.
Cool, guys. Well, before we get into the album, I just wanted to know, how long has Bike Thieves been a thing?
Oh, several years now. I mean, the way I like, there's been a bunch of different members and stuff, and we've now released 3 EPs. Well, that kind of varied because it just felt like a different band of 9 songs, I think it was. And for me, like when it became a band is kind of when Andrew joined, like when it felt a little more legitimate, and then we started to actually tour and play shows outside of Southern Ontario, really.
Okay.
And then that's around the time we put out our last EP, Lean Into It. And that's like, that feels like this band.
Okay.
That's been for probably about 5 years now.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the current lineup's been together for 5 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right on. Cool. And then, you guys have toured all over North America. What are some of your favorite stops?
Boston.
Yeah.
Boston's always treated us well. Yeah.
Yeah. Austin.
Yeah.
Not just because it rhymes. Yeah.
New York's always fun. For me, New Orleans is like a big one. It's just such an interesting place, and
It's a different planet.
yeah, and like awesome people there, supportive people too. We've met some like great friends.
Cool.
I should also shout out to Norman, Oklahoma, and Lloydminster, Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say, like, what town or city has like the best scene or fans?
I mean, there's a lot of great hometown bands like from Toronto and Hamilton, like the
Mhm.
Pup and Pew and Anti-Queens, all those bands. What has a good? Austin has a really weird scene. Like, there's this band that we played with called Uncle Jesus. That
Okay.
I was almost begging them to put their stuff on Spotify because I think they just have it on Bandcamp. But they just had like this really cool Jesus Lizard vibe, and then it would bounce to sounding like Yola Tango, and it was really nice. But yeah, Austin's awesome. New York's obviously awesome. Boston, yeah, Black Beach, they're a great band.
Minneapolis has some awesome bands.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think those are probably like some of our favorite ones. Montreal, obviously, where our label's located.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, let's talk about the new album. New album is called Leaking. Comes out Friday, October 30th. Like you said, was recorded with Josh Cardy.
I can't.
Josh Carody at
Carody.
Recordings.
Who's recorded some like really exciting bands, Dirty Nil, Weaves, Dilly Dally. How did you guys get connected with him, and what was it like working with him?
So our friend, I knew I wanted to work with him because of that resume that you just kind of went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had emailed him, and I basically started talking to a bunch of band friends. And our friend Chris, who used to play drums in a really good Toronto band called Casper Skulls, had just done their EP with Josh, and he reached out to him for me. And Josh got back to us, and he kind of liked the demos that we had for Lean Into It. And yeah, we did that EP with him, and we seemed to get along very well. We have a similar sense of humor. Like, we like to take the piss out of each other quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you listen to us talk to each other, you'd think we're enemies. And maybe we are. Maybe I'm just reading the room improperly. But yeah, we knew we wanted to do this record with him because he's got great tones. He's a lot of fun to work with. He does not mince words with us, which I think is really important. And he's also very generous and kind. Like, he's a really sweet guy. But like, sometimes you need to hear something's not working, or he doesn't like it, or you have to have that, not argument, but that conversation that can get heated, where you have to fight for your ideas and see why the other person doesn't get it. And I think you get a better product.
Right. What's something that he brings to the table that you think is very unique?
Tones.
Yeah.
He's the tone wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows his way around a guitar pedal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a synth.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's now Techno Josh.
Yeah.
He bleached his hair.
Techno Josh.
He has a techno project called Nail Biter as well, which is really great if you're into.
Oh, okay. So he is actually like making techno.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing live
Okay.
streams. He actually owns a techno label as well called Nodding Heads.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So he's taken some time off of ripping off My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, no, he's incredible. Yeah.
The new album sounds great. The first takeaway I had is that lyrically it's very smart. Who does most of the writing in terms of lyrics?
Marko.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Marko, yeah,
Thank you.
man, like
Talk about me.
they're very smart lyrics. Like your manager sent through like the lyrics to every song. They're like super poetic and weird and like great, and it matches so well with the instrumentation, which is the same. You can't really put. I was trying to figure out what genre I would put you guys in, and I can't. You've kind of like paved your own thing, and it's like a mesh between so many different bands that like came to mind just from your singing style to the percussion to the bass to the guitar. If you had to tell someone we sound like kind of like this band, or this band meets this band, what would you say you sound like?
Well, first, thank you. That was really kind of you. I mean, the band that, like, when Chris and I started playing together before we adopted Andrew, the band that, like, we didn't agree on it's not that we didn't agree, but we had different tastes, but the band that we agreed on was Queens of the Stone Age. Because that was the first band, for me, that's my favorite band ever, that had that marriage of, like, really heavy, mean, sludgy riffs, and also this like soft, falsetto voice, and then just weird nonsense just for the sake of nonsense, just because music can be funny. Also, stuff like, and you'll hear it in the music, like McLusky and Pixies, Dismemberment Plan. I love Father John Misty and Leonard Cohen. I don't know.
Parquet Courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fans of them.
Yeah, that we ripped them off quite a bit.
The new album has 10 tracks. They're all so good, and each song kind of holds its own place on the album. Like, they're definitely distinctly Bike Thieves, but each song is a bit different
Thanks.
from the other one. What is your favorite song? And each member can have a different favorite, obviously. What are your favorite songs off the album?
Well, I need a second here.
Connie's Got a New Phone is a really fun one to play, especially on like drums. It's just a little bit all over the place. It's a little bit of a higher tempo in comparison to some of the other stuff. So it's just fun to whack it and just go a little wild. Flyover State's another one, if I can pick two. It was a really fun one as well. Just like the dynamics in it of like up and down.
Totally.
I would say either Financial Cancer or Hockey Dad. I have so much fun playing Hockey Dad like every time.
Yeah.
But Financial Cancer is one that we kind of finished writing at the end, and then once we got into the studio and tracked it and all the production behind it was done and we heard it back for the first time, I was like, whoa, like it blew me away a little bit. So
cool.
Are those two?
I think for me, like lyrically, I'm really proud of Gold and Financial Cancer. Financial Cancer and Connie I really like because I really had to take some time to like build these characters and their stories because it's pretty much fiction across the board for those two songs. But it was a lot of fun. Just like I had to do a lot of research for Financial Cancer. I was looking just to fill one line for it to make sense. I started looking into like the economic collapse of like the auto industry in like 2008 or whatever it was, just to help shape this character and his intentions and his kind of past. As far as sonically, I love listening to Limbo in the Kitchen just because of those drums. Like they're just so fun and it feels kind of anthemic. And also the end of Financial Cancer, just because it's a little batshit. Like it goes kind of where Titus Andronicus go, where it just keeps building with guitar layers and it gets a little Thin Lizzy. And
yeah, I think my favorite. I really, really enjoyed Hockey Dad. I thought that was just a great one. But yeah, Limbo in the Kitchen, I really like too. Financial Cancer. I also really like Gold as well.
Cool. And the rest suck.
The rest suck. No. Those would just be the top ones for sure.
Thank you.
Marko, what is your process for writing?
A lot of pacing. I pace around and I do a lot of this, like literally with my hand and my head, and I kind of go back and forth. And I have about 15 Google tabs open for word definitions and Wikipedia pages, and I kind of keep asking myself, what does this mean? Because I think when I was younger, lyrics were just like, oh, this is a funny line. Like, this sounds cool or snarky or whatever. And I mean, I probably lean on that stuff still, but like I'm spending a lot more time, I have been, especially on this record, more time on like, what is the motivation? What am I trying to say? Does it work with like the rest of the song? And I try and do some like as much reading as I can. Like I'm pretty big in the graphic novels, but I like the more serious kind of stuff. Like I read this one called Berlin by this guy named Jason Lutz. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it's about like the Weimar Republic in between the First and Second World War in Berlin. And yeah, just word definitions and like what is this reference and just trying to absorb all of that kind of information to kind of get funny takes on things and help kind of understand people. So yeah, so it's usually at like 9 a.m. I'm walking around, like I'm pacing around in my underwear and just kind of talking to myself. And
then we pop
like a sane person.
And you go, what do you think of this?
So do the lyrics come first, or does the music come first, or does it like kind of depend on the song?
Definitely song by song.
Yeah.
I say generally the music comes first, but then there'll be times where, Marko will have like lyrics and a song all kind of in one, and brings it to the table, and then we kind of, give it new life.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've definitely had like where we're jamming something out and we have like, one of us gets like a vocal melody idea, and I'll try working it out, and I'll get placeholder lyrics. And sometimes they stick or they get tweaked a little bit. Because sometimes placeholder lyrics are just fun. Like, that's why people still rhyme baby and crazy in songs.
Right.
It's just easy and it's fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So this will be the first like full length album. I know that artists generally use EPs to kind of figure out what their sound should be. How would you say the album is different from what you've put out in the past, if it is at all?
I think it's a little bit more matured and thought out than previous work, at least that I've been a part of with like Lean Into It. We put a lot of time, energy, and love into it as well. But with the album, there were just things like we did more than we planned on using. Like we tried a little bit of everything, and I think that it ended up working out, like talking about the different guitar layers and different instruments that appear on the album.
Yeah, a bit more heavy on the production side of things. And
right.
Yeah, like Andrew said, like, experimenting with sounds and percussion, and then like pulling back.
Yes,
right.
We do a kitchen sink approach and then kind of trim the fat from there.
Okay. So yeah, you signed to Stomp Records, so Montreal-based label, just in August, like very recently. What is it like to be a signed band and being with a label that really, they have such a great roster as well?
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Stomp's been really good to us, and it's like you kind of get a feel for people and how things work, and they seem to be really good and care about what they're doing. I also like the prospect that we don't sound very much like the other Stomp bands. Like a lot of them are a lot more punky. Like we still fit in, but I feel like it's on both ends. Like when we talked to them about this, it's a bit of an experiment. Like we're a little bit out of their wheelhouse, but it's kind of like, and likewise, but it's kind of fun because it's like, okay, well, this is just music at the end of the day.
Right.
And everybody's excited about it, and we're excited about working with each other. And I think that could be really cool because, punk audiences have always been warm to us, and I think it'd be just a fun thing. Like this is just a fun thing to be like, okay, let's see what people think. And it's also fun to surprise people and be like, okay, here's Bike Thieves, a punk band, and then you listen to the record and it's like, oh, there's a violin there and there's a trumpet here.
Yeah.
And you don't really like it's been said a million times, but that's what punk rock is all about, is not adhering to something.
Breaking the mold.
Right.
Yeah. And not that we're doing something that's so, extraordinary or unprecedented, but it's fun to just like, this is why some of our favorite bands are like Ween, because they don't stick to a genre song by song. So yeah.
Cool. What is it like though, being because you signed on to them during a pandemic, so I'm guessing this wasn't an in-person exchange or anything like that. Have you met anyone in person from the label or anything like that?
No.
All virtual?
Yeah. They might be
very 2020.
No.
Right. So what have they brought to the table?
A truckload of money. They just poured it on their driveway. And then we got, we now look like NASCAR drivers. It just says Stomp all over all of our clothes.
Right on. Okay, so the podcast is based in Toronto. You guys are a Toronto band, so I'd like to know what your favorite venue is to perform at and what your favorite venue is to be a spectator at.
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
One of my favorite to perform at would be the Baby G. It's just run by great people. We're friends with a majority of them, always have a good time, always seem to be paired with great bands when we're there. One of my favorite venues to be a spectator would probably be the Phoenix. I just love that long room, even the merch room with the stained glass. It was also one of the first venues I got to go to as a young teenager. So it just holds a special spot.
Okay.
I really like watching shows at the Garrison. It feels like just the bands that play there and just the size of the room and everything. It just, I don't know. It's nice. It's like you feel like you're in a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
probably to play at. I like the Monarch. The Monarch's like a small kind of little club, like literally in a residential street, but it's like it's very cozy and like there could be like 30 people in there, but it feels like it's sold out.
And they've got pool upstairs.
Pool table, yeah.
Yeah. For me, probably both to be a spectator and to play is the Horseshoe. I love the sound there. I love that there's places to sit. I love that there's a front room when you can go and sit at the bar and hang out versus going and watching the show. It's just got a good vibe, and there's, you know, fast food next door.
Yeah. They got the little A&W window.
I've never used the window.
Also, I think the Horseshoe just has such a rich history, right? I'm hoping that's like not one of the venues that's going to be closing its doors. It's really sad to see all these places closing down. Yeah. Well, speaking of concerts, what were your first concerts to go to?
Sharon, Lois, and Bram.
My first concert was that SARS stock, like that happened, I don't know, like 15 years ago or something.
Okay.
Maybe 20 years ago.
Do you remember who you saw there?
It was like The Who, AC/DC, Rolling Stones.
So nothing big.
No.
JT.
I missed JT get hit with the water bottle.
My first concert was the Backstreet Boys. So I have an older sister who still listens to the Backstreet Boys. She works for the government. But she saw them every time they came through Toronto, and I think one of her friends dropped out to see them so they had this extra ticket, and I was in a screaming match with my mom and my sister because they were like, we just need to use this ticket, so you're coming. And it was very loud. It might have been as loud as My Bloody Valentine. Just the screaming. Like the young girls screaming.
Right.
They put on a great show. You know, it was fun. But then the first concert that I chose to go to was either at the Masonic Lodge in Streetsville in Mississauga, some whatever bands were playing coming through at the time, or The Offspring.
Me too. That's funny. The first band I went to go see was The Offspring. Well, the first one I decided to go to was The Offspring.
Nice. Do you know what tour it was?
Well, I am from South Africa, so this would have been, wasn't Americana. It was kind of a weird one because I remember they were just like pretty much playing all the hits. It was great. It could have been when was that album called Splinter, the one with the exploding head?
I saw them.
Yeah, I think it could have maybe been for that, but I just remember like they pretty much just played hits only. Like it was amazing to go to just because it was, you know, I was really sad that I wasn't going to be able to see stuff from like their early albums, and they played everything. It was great.
Yeah.
What about like best concert you've been to? This is probably going to be very difficult to answer. Like I get to ask this all the time, and it changes every time depending on my mood. But
I can think of 3.
Okay.
4.
One of
700.
One of the more recent ones was seeing Daughters come back, like their reunion show at the Hard Luck. It just mind blowing. It was a band that I thought I hadn't I wasn't going to get to see Toronto, and just they really, really delivered. Like a packed room, everybody was just kind of in awe, and they just killed it. Everything more, yeah.
The last show that I was like blown away at was Marko and I went to go see Car Seat Headrest in Buffalo.
Okay.
And it was like in this huge church, and just like they had a crazy light show. The band that opened for them like also jumped on stage and like filled out like all the extra sound, and so it was like a 9-piece band, and like I don't know, it was just crazy. There was so many people packed in like this church, and there was like people sitting up in like the choir section, and there was like a bar in there too. I don't know. I was just blown away.
Cool.
Yeah.
For me, the easy answers would be Leonard Cohen, Radiohead, and Father John Misty. But one that stuck out that's a little different was Pulp, because I saw them at Radio City Music Hall when they did that reunion thing.
Cool.
And I definitely have ripped off some of like Jarvis Cocker's like arm stuff that he does on stage.
Okay.
They were just like just across the board entertaining, and he just owns the stage and he kind of walks back and forth.
Yeah.
And I've always been enamored by performers like that, especially when they do it live. Like Tom Waits is like that. Matt Berninger from the National is like that.
Right.
And it's just like it's a different thing. Like it's a different beast.
Right.
So yeah. Also, I got to keep my little cup. This is Radio City Music Hall. It's
right.
like a $20 gin and tonic or something, but
right, yeah, for sure. Oh man, yeah, those concert prices are always the worst. What about favorite bar in Toronto or Etobicoke, I guess?
You ever hear of this little place called Boston Pizza? You know, Chris, what's the place where they have like the little Portuguese bakery where you get like the whatever in your coffee?
Oh, the
bourbon?
Yeah, brandy my coffee. Brazil Bakery. That's a bakery. That's not a bar.
I mean, that's still an interesting answer, I'd say.
I always drag these guys to these little like Portuguese bars that have really cheap drinks, and
okay,
they'll serve espresso with like shots of brandy in it.
Nice.
Yeah, and you get good snacks. I don't know.
It's become like a pre-show, post-show tradition of sorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is there anyone in particular that you could
One
think of?
that I
Like a little Portuguese place?
go to often is called Rosa Branca.
Rosa Branca.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on College.
You guys have different answers, or were you sticking with the Portuguese places?
I think it's the most interesting answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Cool. And then favorite restaurant in Toronto?
Ooh, La Carnita or Bark.
I like this place called Pinky's Cafe. It's like
Yes.
You know Pinky's?
I know Pinky's.
Yeah, it's like
knows
the little
Pinky's.
This guy knows Pinky's. It's like a little Vietnamese spot. Yeah, I don't need to tell you either, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, very interesting stuff.
I like big fan of Mare Pizza in Kensington Market. Just
Yes,
a
okay.
big window. In the summer, it's perfect. Like just kind of leaning there with like a Coke and a slice with like a couple buddies. You feel like you're somewhere else.
For sure.
Yeah, that or Me Taco. Me Taco's great, but the one on Bloor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to Otto's in Kensington Market, the Donair place with the coolest bathroom in the city? Arguably, I would say they have that little light that like turns the whole thing into a disco room. It's pretty crazy. Little button.
Oh, neat.
Oh, I've heard it. I've seen that.
And they've got the spicy ketchup.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's right. And like big German beer, which is always good too. What have you been listening to the most during COVID? What's been getting you through all of this?
Oh, we're all really into Fontaine's DC right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gypsy Kings.
Yeah.
That was pre-COVID, but it sustains, man. Gypsy Kings are
Gypsy
amazing.
Kings. Interesting. Wow. Okay.
That new Idols record I was listening to a lot, and the new Run the Jewels too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Met great. Also just listening to like the new Pup EP. That's been good too.
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome. How do you go about finding new music in general?
Spotify can be a big help. Marko as well, Kris. Like we all share amongst ourselves.
Yeah, I generally like listen to one song that I really want to hear, and I'll just go to like create station on Apple Music, and it'll just keep generating random bands. And then when I hear something I really like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to check out their album. And so I just keep going on this adventure, and you end up discovering a lot of new stuff.
Right.
I grew up a lot like playing video games and then playing music. So I always liked reading like video game magazines. So it started out with that, and as I got older, it became music magazines and like so stuff like from the UK, like Uncut, Pitchfork, of course, because I'd read about like Parquet Courts. I remember just reading a feature on them where the writer followed them for a couple of days, and I was like, this just sounds like an interesting band. So I had read like, I don't know, 1,500 words on them before listening to a note of their music.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then I heard the music and I was like, oh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really love, and I feel like something's changed where there isn't as much attention put towards like good long form writing. I mean, I think it comes through more so now in podcasts. But there's a lot more clickbait out there, unfortunately, and like, yeah, stuff like the AV Club, Pitchfork, Stereo Gum, Paste, Punk News, like all that stuff. It's really good to just really dig into stuff. And I remember reading
For sure.
Spin Magazine and Lou Reed being interviewed, and they're like, well, what's on, this is showing my age, but they're like, what's on your iPod? And he was being, kind of a snarky fellow as he was. But he was like, yeah, whatever. Melt Banana. And I was like, what's Melt Banana? And I remember having the feeling of like, I wish I was Melt Banana right now.
Right. Yeah.
Lou Reed to shout you out, because that's awesome. Then I listened to them. I'm like, oh, this is really weird, but awesome.
Right. Cool. All right. And final question, guys. What's latest and greatest find in terms of music?
Ooh.
I'm gonna dig through my phone for a second.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal the answer
Go
from
ahead.
Kris,
No,
but
go ahead.
just yesterday he showed me a band called the Iguana Death Cult, and
Okay.
yeah, they're great, like awesome, like post-punk type of, a bit of like a surfy vibe in there, but like awesome name.
I like that band Drala. Yeah, they're really cool. Also, I finally got around to listening to like Kate LeBon. I think it's pronounced Kate. C-A-T-E.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's got some really cool, like it's kind of new wavy, kind of spacey and experimental. Yeah, and I've been revisiting Mr. Bungle lately too.
Cool.
That's just fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my music's like all over the place. That
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Wrong Bin band.
Yeah.
I like
Oh, yeah.
finally just like got into them, and they're cool. They're kind of like up my alley. And what else? That Kiwi Jr. I was listening to
Yeah.
Kiwi Jr.
Kiwi Jr. is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
they're from
I
there.
enjoyed that album a lot.
Yeah. Wicked. And where is the best place for people to buy your new album?
Bandcamp
Bandcamp.
or Our House if you're in the area
With a mask.
Yeah.
With the mask. Awesome. Cool. Guys, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thanks
I
a
really
lot.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you for
you.
doing this with us.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye. You too.